Hey guys, today I wanted to address one of the most frequently asked questions by beginner contact jugglers, and that is, how do I select my first contact juggling ball? And there are two main things you're going to want to take into consideration. Number one, how big is your ball going to be? You can get contact juggling balls all the way from like 65 millimeters, which is smaller than that, all the way up until huge. A bigger ball is easier to control, so I often recommend either a 100 millimeter or a 75 millimeter. The general consensus of the contact juggling beginning population is that 100 millimeter is the way to go. Some people prefer 75s, and if that's the case, rock it like a boss. Honestly, I started with something that was about this big, but it was a garden gazing globe. And it was super easy to control, but eventually you want to move on to something smaller. Right, then next you're going to look at what is your ball made out of. The two most common materials are either acrylic or silicone. The big difference of the two is obviously weight. The acrylic weighs a lot more than the silicone. And a quick note on the acrylic. The acrylic will, mark up pretty easily. As you can see, this one's gotten some marks, like little black stuffs, but, this one actually has a burn and cracks and not good stuff. You actually can buff them to make them look like they're new again. I generally just buy new ones, and I'd have lots. Anyway, another note about the acrylic is that it acts like a magnifying glass. So if you leave this thing in direct sun, it's going to burn stuff. You can use these to start fires, which might be kind of fun, but if you leave it by your window in your house, it's not going to end well. I mean, did you ever hear the one about the fortune teller who burnt down her house by leaving her acrylic in the sun all day? She should have seen it coming. Anyway. So, as I said, the main difference between the two is their weight. I'm not going to try to paint everybody with the same paintbrush, because that's just rude. However, I find that most beginning males prefer the acrylic ball, and most beginning females prefer a silicone. And I have a hypothesis here. I think that because generally males have more muscle and more, muscle contours that they have to get over, having a heavier ball works better for them because it gains that momentum. Whereas for most females with less muscle and less contours, also I've noticed that they tend to begin with lighter, more delicate movements. A silicone ball seems to be the most popular choice. Rockin'. Again, that's not everybody, it's just something that I've noticed. Take it into consideration maybe, or don't. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the different types of silicone and acrylic balls. With the silicone, you can get a plain hollow stage ball, which I do not own. I actually much prefer a Silex ball. It looks like your regular stage ball, however, it actually, much like this one, has the liquid inside. If you can see that. Yeah, you can. Okay, good. Anyway, because it has the liquid silicone inside, it has a lot smoother roll, which is why I prefer it over your regular stage ball. Also, it gives it a little more weight without being like an acrylic. So, this is a Silex. This is the Silex Implosion. They both have the liquid. If you prefer the look of either one, then go that direction. Another note about the Silex or the Implosion is that the Implosions are always a little more sticky. Some people like that, especially if you're doing a lot of techie fingerwork stuff, because it gives you a little bit more grip, but it does make it harder to do things like squeeze-ups, or, more slidey things. Just a note, Also, you can get super awesome LED contact juggling balls. I can't really show you how it lights up because the batteries are dying and it's bright out. But if you want to get yourself an LED contact juggling ball, I highly recommend the weighted ones from Renegade Juggling. They are the only ones that I found so far. I'm sure there's more out there. The only ones that I found so far on the internet that are weighted. Generally you can get LED contact juggling balls, but because they have the lights and batteries inside, and nothing else, sometimes they're off-center and they're funky shaped and it's not copacetic with contact juggling. So these are the weighted ones from Renegade Juggling. Another note too, I will be including links to some of my favorite places to shop for balls in the description. So I guess that's acrylic, no, that's silicone. Note on acrylics. The most popular is the clear acrylic. Downsides to the clear acrylic is that it acts most intensely like a magnifying glass. The other ones will too, but the color or the UV reactive actually don't do it as much. You can get a huge array of color of acrylics. You can also get some that are UV reactive, which is fun. You can also get something that is not acrylic, but you can get little chrome ones. I guess you can get them larger too, but I like the little ones. They have a really nifty weight to them. I'm not sure if I would recommend it for beginners, but it's just another option that's out there. And they look really cool. So I think that's all I've got. So to recap, the general consensus is that if you were a beginning guy, you're probably going to want 100mm acrylic, and beginning girls seem to prefer the 100mm silicones. But try a couple different things out. The main difference between the sizes is that bigger ones are easier to control, smaller ones are a little bit more difficult. Some people prefer them, especially if you have smaller hands. The acrylics have really nice smooth textures, so if you're doing a lot of slidey stuff, you're rocking. Be careful not to drop it on tile or your ankle or somebody else's face. Yeah! Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.